Today I'm going to teach you step by step how to make this cardinal winter wreath using the Deco mesh pancake method. Welcome to Stillwater's Wreath Designs. Come on in. Hello Stillwater's friends, how are you today? Come on in. You guys, I am so stinking excited to be creating with you today. As some of you know, I've actually been gone for the past 3 weeks recovering from an injury, and I am super excited to be back with you today. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome to Stillwater's Wreath Designs. This channel is all about step-by-step DIY wreath and door swag tutorials. And for those of you that have been here with me for a while, I'm so thankful that you're here. Go ahead and plug in your hot glue gun so that it can be heating up while we talk through some of our supplies. I'm just going to point out quickly, guys, you'll notice my finger is wrapped in a protective wrap. I've got a cut that I'm healing from, and so I've got it protected in case you're wondering what that is. So today we are going to be making a pancake wreath on a Dollar Tree frame. So we're actually going to use this super cute metal sign that I received in a mystery pack. This guy is 10 inches in diameter, and I thought it would make a super cute winter wreath. We're also going to be using the 14-inch wire wreath frame from the Dollar Tree, a single roll of 10-inch Deco mesh in a burlap color, some florals, and of course some wired ribbon. You guys, you can find the full materials and supplies list for you below in the description of this video so that you can recreate this beauty if you'd like to do so. Of course, if you'd rather just purchase today's wreath from my Etsy shop, I'll leave that link for you below as well. All right, guys, so let's have a little wreath 101. So again, this is a wire wreath frame. You can pick these up at a variety of different online retailers and stores. I prefer the Dollar Tree wire wreath frame when I'm making a pancake wreath, which is the method we'll be using today. And as you take a look at this, guys, you can see it's got 4 rings, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's got 6 crossbars, which gives stability to your wire frame, and 6 sections. And so the distance between one crossbar and the next is what we consider a section. You can see it's flat on the back. That's the side that rests against your door, and then slightly beveled on the front facing side. So the first thing that we need to do is to add some pipe cleaners into our wire wreath frame so that we can then anchor down some Deco mesh. So you're going to need 12 pipe cleaners for this next step. And the first thing we're going to do is anchor our pipe cleaners around all of the crossbars, right around the 3rd rung. So right where the crossbar meets the 3rd ring, you're going to take your pipe cleaner, run that guy underneath, right here at the crossbar. And then in the middle, you're just going to give that pipe cleaner 2 or 3 tight twists. Just like that. And then you can point those guys outwards. We're going to do this all the way around, again, right around that crossbar on ring 3, and give it 2 or 3 tight twists to anchor that guy down. And point them outwards. Let's speed ahead. Now that we've got our 6 outer ring pipe cleaners attached to the crossbars around that ring 3, it's time to add our inner layer pipe cleaners. And we're going to add 1 pipe cleaner to each section. And remember, the sections are the space between the crossbars. And we're going to wrap this pipe cleaner right in the center of each section around the inner 2 rings. Not looking for perfection, guys. No one's going to be measuring. So just wrap that pipe cleaner around those inner 2 rings, give it a couple of tight twists, and point that guy towards the center. And we're going to do this for each section. Once you've got those inner 6 pipe cleaners attached, we're going to grab a piece of old cardboard and lay that underneath, because we're going to add just a little bitty dollop of glue around this 2nd ring, right where a pipe cleaner is attached, so that that guy won't slide around. And so I'm just going to put about an inch bead of glue so that it goes right on top of that pipe cleaner, and then a little bit on either side. You don't need to worry about doing this for the outer pipe cleaners because they're anchored down to the crossbar. Once you've got all those dollops of glue on top of those pipe cleaners, go ahead and set your wreath frame off to the side. We'll let those dollops of glue get nice and dry, and we'll prepare our deco mesh. So I mentioned earlier, friends, that today we're going to be using the pancake method for our wreath. This particular wreath method is great for folks in the Midwest like myself that have storm doors and need a thinner wreath that can go between their primary door and storm door. And for this particular wreath, we're just going to use one type of deco mesh. This is 10-inch burlap colored deco mesh, and we've got 12 pipe cleaners on our wreath frame, and so we're going to need 12 pieces of our deco mesh cut at 28 inches in length. You can simply measure that out with a ruler or a yardstick and cut that with your scissors. If you're new to wreath making, I would highly recommend that you grab what's called a rotary cutter. This little tool is super cost effective, and it lets you cut your mesh quickly with nice clean lines and helps to reduce the fray. And so I'm going to be using my rotary cutter. I'll leave a link for this for you below in the description of this video. So I'm just going to roll this guy out. And then at the 28-inch mark, I'll just give that a nice cut. And so we're going to need 12 pieces cut at 28 inches in length, and then I'll meet you back here. If you're not new to my channel, you know that I generally don't prepare my ribbon tails until later on in the wreath creating process, but for the pancake wreath, it's a little bit different, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So again, here is our cardinal sign. So you can see it's got some cream background, different shades of red for our cardinal, then the brown of the branch and the cardinal's feet, and then of course our winter greenery. And so the ribbon that I've chosen to pair with this sign is a 2.5-inch burlap and cardinal ribbon, along with two 1.5-inch rolls. I've got a 1.5-inch burlap with white polka dots and a 1.5-inch sage winter green. We're going to cut our ribbon tails at 12 inches in length, and we're going to need 6 of each ribbon type. So let me show you an easy way to cut your ribbon tails quickly. You're just going to, either with your self-healing mat, we're just going to measure out a 12-inch piece, mark that with our hand, and then we're going to fold this guy over accordion style 6 times so that we have our 6 pieces. And again, guys, you know, never looking for perfection. No one's going to be measuring. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once you've got your 6 pieces of ribbon, just go ahead and cut off that excess. And then you can just run your scissors right through those folds to separate out your ribbon tails. Spin that ribbon stack around and do the same thing to the other end. Then you're just going to stack those tails on top of each other. And then we're just going to marry up those ends. I'm going to dovetail my ends, folks. You can also angle trim them if that's your preference. So I'm just making sure that my ends are married up nicely, and you guys know the strength of your scissors. If your scissors can only handle 3 at a time, you know, just do this in 2 batches. And to dovetail, you're going to fold your ribbon in half, grab your scissors, and then on the folded side, not the open side, come down about 1 inch and then cut up diagonally to that corner, like so. And then you have that nice pretty V, which is called a dovetail. So we're going to do this to all 3 ribbon types. You want 6 pieces of each, cut at 12 inches in length, and then trim your ends how you wish, and I'll meet you back here. Once you've got all of your ribbon tails cut and the ends trimmed, go ahead and grab your wire wreath frame so that we can start loading our deco mesh into the wreath. So we're going to be adding ruffles in to make our pancake wreath today. And we're going to start on the outer ring of pipe cleaners. At this point, guys, our wreath does not have a top or bottom, so it doesn't matter which pipe cleaner you start at, as long as it's an outer pipe cleaner. And we're going to add one Deco mesh ruffle to every single pipe cleaner. And so what I want you to do is to grab a piece of your Deco mesh, lay it down in your workstation, curl side down. If your Deco mesh gets a little squirrely and wants to roll up on you, you can just, lay your scissors or something on there to keep it from curling up. And then what I want you to do, guys, is to place your fingers on top of the Deco mesh at the end here. Your thumbs are going to stay stationary, and then your 8 fingers are going to be doing the work. And all you're going to do is scrunch and gather or crawl that Deco mesh back into your hand like so. All the way to the end until you have this beautiful ruffle. So you're just keeping that guy pinched in the middle. You're going to come over to your wire frame, and at any set of lower or outer level pipe cleaners, open them into a wide V. Take your Deco mesh ruffle, place that down in the center of that V all the way to the base. And then give that pipe cleaner 2 or 3 tight twists to really anchor that guy in. Just like that. Once you've got that ruffle nice and anchored down, this is a pancake wreath, and so what we're going to do is overlap our ends by just tucking one on top of the other, overlapping by a good 3 to 4 inches at both that top and bottom level. So it looks something like this. So as you can see, it's nice and flat, which is what gives us that nice thinner wreath. And so now that we've added our first Deco mesh ruffle into an outer pipe cleaner, now we're going to add our ribbon tails. This is the part that's a little bit different than traditional wreath making, because typically, guys, if you're not new to the channel or if you're not new to wreath making, you typically add all of the Deco mesh into your wreath base and then you come back in with the ribbon tails. It's a little bit different for the pancake method. So you're also going to want to have a good pair of scissors or your small crafting snips handy. And we're going to add ribbon tails as the next step. So again, we've got those 3 ribbon types, and what we're going to do, guys, is alternatingly in one ruffle add a single 2.5 inch cardinal ribbon, and then in the next ruffle we'll be adding 2 of the 1.5 inch ribbons, and we're going to do that back and forth throughout the entire wreath. Let's go ahead and start with our cardinal ribbon. You're going to either eyeball it or fold it in half to find that center. Once you've identified that center, just give it a pinch and a pleat like so. Hang on to it and fold it into a loose V over your thumb. And then come back to your pipe cleaner, add that ribbon tail all the way down to the base of those pipe cleaners. Again, give that pipe cleaner 2 or 3 super duper tight twists. And then with your scissors or your snips, trim off that excess bit of pipe cleaner and toss it away. I'll just fluff out my ribbon tail, and by fluffing it out, guys, I'm just making sure that those wrinkles are pulled out and that they're making a pretty loose V pointing away from the center of our wreath. Let's do one more together and then we'll speed ahead. So we'll sit that guy off to the side. Grab a piece of Deco mesh and bring it to your workstation. Lay it in your work area, curl side down, and again, throw your scissors or something on top of here if you need to control that from rolling up. Place your hands at the end of your piece of Deco mesh, using your thumbs to hold that mesh in place, keep them stationary, and then with your 8 fingers, just walk that mesh back into your hand, keeping those fingers and that pinch right there at the center as best you can, all the way to the end of the piece of Deco mesh. Just like that. Once you've got that all ruffled up, bring your wire wreath frame back to your work area and move over to the very next set of pipe cleaners on that outer level. Open it into a wide V. Take your Deco mesh ruffle and add that all the way down to the base of that V. And take your pipe cleaner and give it 2 or 3 super duper tight twists, like so. Then we're going to take that mesh and overlap it by 3 to 4 inches on both the top and the bottom, just like that. And you'll see it's also then partially covering that previous ruffle, which is what helps give that pretty coverage for our pancake wreath. And now we need to add some ribbon tails. So since we added our cardinal ribbon last time, this time we'll add our 2 1.5 inch ribbons. I'm just going to lay one right on top of the other. Identify that center point by folding it in half. Give it a pinch and a pleat. Fold that guy into a loose V over your fingers, like so. Come back to that most recent ruffle. Add those ribbon tails all the way down to the base of the V of your pipe cleaners. Give those pipe cleaners 2 or 3 super duper tight twists. And trim off those excess bits of pipe cleaner. And toss them away. Now I'm just going to fold these ribbon tails into a V. I'm going to separate them a little bit. Just like that. How stinking cute. Perfect. We're going to repeat the same pattern all the way around the outer layer of our wreath. We've got 4 more to do, and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, you guys, now we've got all 6 of our ruffle and ribbon tail combinations added to the outer layer of our pancake wreath, and now we're going to repeat that exact same process on the inner layer. And the first thing we need to do is grab those pipe cleaners and kind of work them up so that they're pointing straight up in the air. And so what I'm doing is just finding those pipe cleaners and pulling them straight up between 2 of the pancake ruffles, just like that. So we're going to stand those all up. We'll do one together on the upper level here, and then we'll speed ahead. Okay, once you've got all 6 of those inner layer pipe cleaners pointing straight up in the air, go ahead and scoot that wreath off to the side. And we're going to follow the exact same process on the upper layer as what we did on the outer layer. So grab your piece of Deco mesh, bring it to your work area, curl side down. We'll scrunch and gather that piece of mesh into a ruffle. We still don't have a top or bottom to our wreath, guys, so you can start at any set of upper level pipe cleaners. Give that guy a good pinch. Come to any set of pipe cleaners and lay that ruffle right on top. Press it all the way down to the base. Give those pipe cleaners 2 or 3 tight twists. Overlap your mesh by about 3 to 4 inches on those open ends, just like so. Grab a ribbon tail, pinch and pleat in the center, fold that into a loose V over your thumb, add that on top of that pipe cleaner, all the way down to the base. Give those pipe cleaners 2 or 3 super tight twists. And with your snips or scissors, go ahead and trim off that excess bit of pipe cleaner. Fluff out your ribbon tail and move on to the next. Go ahead and add a 1 Deco mesh ruffle and your ribbon tails to all of those upper level pipe cleaners. Trim off those excess bits and I'll meet you back here. Okay, you guys, we've got all of our Deco mesh ruffles and ribbon tails added into our wreath base, and look how stinking cute that is. This is going to be such a pretty winter wreath. At this point, this guy is about 24 inches in diameter and about 4 to 5 inches in thickness, so it's perfect to add in between storm doors. So the next step in our process is to get our cardinal sign added in. Now, if you've been on this channel for a while, you know that I generally like to use sticky back mounting brackets to add in signs. However, they don't always stick really well. In fact, generally they don't, to metal signs. So when I'm working with a thin metal sign, I typically secure it down with some floral wire stems. So I've grabbed two 20 gauge floral wire stems. These guys are 16 inches in length and perfect for the purposes of adding our sign down into our wreath. And I've also got these handy hole punch tools. It's actually meant for jewelers, but it's great for our purposes. I'll leave a link for this for you below. And I'm just going to come in about a 1/2 inch and poke a hole on the lower and upper part of our sign here. And I'm sure the camera's not going to be able to capture the size of that hole, but it's really, really small. So there's the actual hole punch. It doesn't require any oomph. It's just an easy way to get those holes added in, and it keeps those edges really fine and smooth. So then I'm going to take a floral wire stem, fold that guy in half just to identify that center point, and I'm going to run that through the holes that we've just created, and then I'll flip it around on the back and give that stem just a couple of twists, just so that guy doesn't get squirrely and slide out on us. And we'll do the same thing to the lower hole. Fold that guy in half, run that floral wire stem right through the hole that we created, flip that guy over and give that floral wire stem a couple of tight twists here, just to keep it from getting squirrely. Guys, I'm going to have to get a helper to add my sign in since I'm being careful with my finger, but essentially you're just going to take those floral wire stems, poke them right down into your wreath, and give them 3 or 4 tight twists around 2 of the rings of your wreath. I'll show you what mine looks like in just a moment. All right, guys, I've got my sign anchored down into my wreath. As you can see, I'm here and here, and basically you want that to be about at 80% tension. You want it to be nice and secure and not fluffy, but you don't want to push it in so tightly that it sinks down into your wreath. And here's what it looks like on the back. I'll zoom in for you. As you can see, I've got that twisted around that inner second ring on both of my spots, right around that crossbar, and that just helps your sign from sliding. Once you're happy with the placement, you're just going to give those floral wire stems a handful of tight twist at about 80% tension. Then you're going to take your small snips and trim off those excess bits of floral wire and toss them away. And then I like to grab my needle nose pliers. I just pinch those ends in and together, and I kind of curl that floral wire stem and right back into the wreath. That way, if someone happens to grab the wreath right there, they're not going to get poked. Look how stinking cute our wreath has come along, guys. So I'm just going to take a quick second here and straighten up any of those ribbon tails that might have gotten squirrely while we were flipping our wreath around to get our sign anchored. You guys, this is turning out so stinking cute. We've got just one more step and then this beauty will be finished. We're going to add in some floral embellishments. So I've grabbed 2 different bushes here, guys. These are both from Hobby Lobby. I've got a frosted winter greenery bush and then the red, green, and white winter berry bush. Just a quick pro tip for you guys if you're new to wreath making, florals are nearly always going to be your most expensive piece. I generally get most of my florals from Hobby Lobby. That's where both of these bushes came from. And Hobby Lobby has their florals department on a 40% off sale every other week. So when it's time for you to go shopping for florals, make sure you're mindful of that sale so that you can, get the best bang for your buck. And we're going to add a floral bit to every single space where we have a pipe cleaner and we've added in our ribbon tails. And I'm going to alternate back and forth. And so I'm going to add the winter greenery bits to all of the Cardinal ribbon, and then I'm going to add the colorful winter berries to all of our 1.5-inch ribbon tails. And I'm going to start out with just the top layer. I'm not certain yet if we're going to add that to the lower level yet. And so I'm going to cut 3 pieces of each so that we can start at our upper level. So I'm just going to cut them off right here at the base. And they're 2 to 3 inches in length. Oh my goodness. And we just want a single bit. So this is what they look like up close. And again, they're 2 to 3 inches in length, and they're a really good fit to add right into our ribbon tail areas. Now, these winter colorful berries are a little bit longer, so I'm going to cut them off and leave about, a 1/4 of an inch of tail here. Let me hold that for you so that we can anchor those guys down, and we'll do 3 of those as well. Now, if you've got a piece with a longer stem, such as this, you can often separate those into 2 pieces, just cut them right in half. So I'm going to do that, just like so. And all we're going to do, guys, is add a dollop of glue on the bottom side of that stem, and then we're going to add that right on top of where our pipe cleaner was. Give it about a 10-second hold to let it grab. You can use your scissor ends to tuck those down in if you need. And then move on to the next. I'm going to alternate back and forth. Then we'll decide if we want to add some to the lower level as well. For demonstration purposes, I'm doing this right above the wreath. I generally don't do that when I'm just designing because I don't want to get glue dollops. All right, let's get these guys added in and see what we think. You guys, how stinking cute is that? I think I'm going to go ahead and add the embellishments to our lower level as well, following the exact same process that we did on the upper level. So go ahead and get those bits in, and I'll meet you back here. This beauty is finished, you guys. I hope you enjoyed creating with me today. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my little channel to grow. Thanks, friends. Happy crafting.